And you have to be mentally prepared to know that, one, I'm gonna knock you out or you're gonna knock me out. I mean, who does that? I mean, as their career.
We're sick in the head.
Yeah.
I agree, you know.
Why do they smile when they say that?
When they say that, you know, like, you know, I know me personally, if I'm not spending enough time in the gym, my wife, who loves me dearly and I love her dearly, she'll be like, Alex, I think the last time I spent too much time away from the gym, she packed my crap, brought it to me, she laid it down. You know, and she was like, "You going training today?" I'm like, "Well, I guess I am."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now that's love right there. You know, you got to find somebody who
Take a
loves,
note, Jen.
Yeah. You got to find someone who respects what you do and understand your passion. And when I say understand, not just, oh, I feel what you're doing. Oh, I see what you're doing, but they really got to understand because. What up, sports fans? My name is Lisa Marie Lamb, and welcome to our very first episode of MMA Talk. On the left of me, I have Antonio Perkins, who is the sports commentator for Extreme Knockout. And we also have Thomas Bussey, who is the owner of XKO. You guys, welcome to our very first episode. I'm excited.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
really
most definitely. And we're here at the gym in Arlington, where you guys throw the fights.
So we do it. We do the gym 6 days a week, and then when it's not a gym, it is a fight arena, and when it's not a fight arena, it's a gym. So it's exciting. It's exciting to have everything all under one roof.
So the last 16 or 15 fights have been here.
We actually started off in a smaller venue where we did all of our other shows, and we outgrew that. You know, the capacity there was kind of limited ourselves. Only sat about 700 people. This venue obviously seats a lot more, and it's just been a better training facility for us, and it was a great move for us. So majority out of those events have all taken place here, but we did have a few other locations.
Right. Well, let's talk about the fight card. I mean, you guys are having 2 championship fights, which that's exciting. And I wasn't too sure if this was your second one or your first having 2 championship fights. Is that correct?
We've had one event before with 2 championship fights. We haven't had a lot of title fights because our thing was, hey, we want to build a company first. You build a company and you build fighters first before you start adding championship fights, because you can have an event, 1 or 2 events, and then throw anybody in the championship fight, but I don't believe it means nearly as much to a fan or a fighter, you know. So we're very excited about this one because it is our second event with 2 championship fights. Both of the fighters and each of the fight are very well deserved. One of them, Douglas, who has been in a championship fight here before. This is our first 145 title fight, and he is well ready for this fight, and he is also fighting a gentleman, Pacero, who's no stranger to the title contendership. He dropped down to 145 pounds to take this fight. So with those guys feeling the co-main, with Doug and Pacero, and then Donnie and Brad being the main, I felt that was a good fit for the show. You could flop them either way, and I think all the fans and fighters would be happy, but that was the direction we went with that.
I'll tell you one thing, these fighters are ready to fight. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I mean, they train hard, they work hard, they make sacrifices, and in this sport, sacrifice is the name of the game. Family, you know, some of these fighters drive long distances just to train. They change gyms. Douglas Fry actually just recently got married. So while he was training, you know, I mean, he had to take himself away from his wife. You know, Donnie Bell, big family guy, he had to pull himself away from his family. And same with Alex Russ. You know, he's a family man as well. All these guys are ready to fight. They know the business. They know how to train. They know how to cut weight. They listen. They listen to their trainers. They give back positive feedback to whatever the trainers and their team tell them. Talking with these guys from the gym that we left, these fighters helped grow this business. You know, and Thomas said before, you want to have a strong foundation and tie the XKO name to fighters that have a caliber of family, passion for the sport. These guys are not trash talkers. You know, I mean, yeah, it's part of the game a little bit. I'm going to take you out, but they're not disrespectful. And I think Thomas has done a great job, and these fighters have done a great job building this company up. So, long story short, I'm long-winded. These guys want to fight.
There's been a little talk about people not able to fight on the card. I think Armando, I spoke with him earlier today, and from what I understand, Armando Serene, his opponent pulled out. Is that correct?
Yeah. Unfortunately, in the fight game, you know, at this level, whether it's 6 weeks out or a week out from the fights, you know, you have, unfortunately, you have guys drop out for one reason or the other. Yesterday was a busy day for me because I woke up to a phone call, you know, with one of the fighters unable to fulfill his agreement to fight on XKO, and you know, so I spent all day going back and forth, and fortunately we have a great roster of guys, a lot of guys for XKO. It's a matter of another phone call, and everything happens for a reason, you know. If a guy pulls out for one reason or the other, you know what, it might make for a better fight, and as long as the guys are equally matched within the same record and the kind of same background, I'm game for any kind of fight. So Armando's opponent did pull out. Right now I'm in negotiations with just finishing up with the contracts with those guys so I can get a new replacement in there. But Armando will be on the fight card.
That's great, because he's an exciting fighter.
And he's intense.
He's an exciting you know, in person as well. So,
Yeah.
So with that, we have we're going to welcome Douglas Fry.
Give a round of applause for Mr. Doug coming on up.
What's up, man? Good to see you.
What's going on?
What's up, Big D?
Well, I'm glad that you made it. Thank you for taking the time out, because I know you're in the middle of training. So let's talk about your opponent, Chris Pissarro. I know you're no stranger to XKO. You fought several times. You made your career, as well as Chris Pissarro made his career on XKO. Both of you guys tried to attempt to fight for a title at one point, and now you guys are fighting for the second time. So one of you guys are going to become the XKO champion. But the first time, I really want to talk about your first attempt with Steven Peterson. That title was for the 155 or
135 title.
130. Oh wow, I didn't even know you fought that low.
Oh yeah, he's been all over the place in his career, but.
So you're fighting. Your last fight ended in a controversial. I mean, let's talk about that fight. So what happened? It ended in what round, and why did it end in that decision?
Well, we had a good fight, and we had gotten into the fourth round, and the tide had begun to turn in the third. I'd won that round pretty handedly, and fourth round came out, and I got him in a position where he was down on his knees, and we all know that kneeing an opponent who's grounded on his knees or on a three-point stance is illegal to the head, and so I kneed him in the chest. Unfortunately, the referee that night, and at that exact moment, his vantage point was directly behind me, and so whenever he saw me knee Steven in the chest, he saw Steven's head whip back, and he thought that I kneed him in the face while he was down, and so he called the fight. He immediately, the referee immediately knew that he had messed up, so he did not deduct a point. He didn't call the fight by any means of that. Steven, for some reason, decided to roll around and act like he had been knocked out by a knee to the head, and he played the part really well and ended up getting the belt that night. And you know, I was upset with it, and I still a little bitter at Steven for doing that, and I would love to have the opportunity to right that wrong one day, but right now I've got Chris Pissarro in my line of fire, and I look forward to taking that strap October 20th.
You know, I was watching your promo video today, which was very exciting. Got me excited to you know, watch your fight. One of the things that you mentioned in that fight that, you know, people had a lot of things to say about it. Is Douglas, you know, ready? You know, I don't know why they would say that, because I've seen you fight. Yeah. You're an exciting fighter. You're well-rounded. You love to strike. I mean, you have, you know, great ground game. I know in your last fight it ended again into an early stoppage. You know, that was on the legacy card against Chris Tickle. Do you think maybe that's why people are saying, you know, something like that, or, you know, what do you say? How do you address those people?
You know, I'm just gonna do me, and that's all it comes down to. I don't let what other people say really affect me too much. Try to take it in as much as I can, and you know, if it's not positive, you know, let it go. Yeah, unfortunately, in my last few fights A few of them haven't gone the way I would have liked them to, and so more than anything, I just want to prove to myself that I can get in there and I can still compete with the best and be one of the top fighters in Texas and in the United States and eventually the world.
I'm excited about this fight because the mentality is these guys are going to go in and dominate the fight. I mean, I know Pacero's going to come in, he's going to dominate, and same thing with Doug. But going back to that, it's going to be one of those fights where you're anxious to see what's going to happen because everybody knows what these guys bring to the table, and you know, a striking performance is always more entertaining, I think, for a fight fan. You know, it's people want to see guys stand, but their jiu-jitsu game and wrestling game is just as entertaining, you know.
Right.
So that's what makes this fight so exciting. And I didn't want to interrupt you. I was just saying, people are saying, no, there's not going to be one takedown attempt in that whole fight. They are going to box each other until somebody gets knocked out and walks away the champion.
Wrestling is my base.
They forget that because these guys have made such an impact in the sport and here locally and with XKO and on television that they know Pacero's going to knock somebody out. He will knock people out, and Doug has hands and he will knock people out. Same thing. We've all seen it on his promo video that you mentioned. He's knocking, he's throwing knees and connecting in ways that you don't see with local fighters. I mean, these guys are a step above, and we will see them, you know, continue their careers.
Earlier about some of the cages you fought, you know, with Bellator, you fought with Legacy, Premier, XKO.
Biggest one, shark fights. They were, I think,
Right.
26 feet 9 inches was the width. Then that thing was huge.
That's unbelievable size.
Yeah.
So you take 10 steps before you touch gloves.
Yep.
Now, you know, fighting in those different arenas, let me ask you this. Baiting in a fight. Now, does that pose a challenge for a smaller cage to a bigger cage to bait a fighter in?
You mean like using feints and whatnot?
Yes, exactly.
No, I think that's all about range.
Because now in the XKO cage, the range is just pretty much within arm's length.
Well, you know, the good thing is that me and Chris both have a lot of experience in this cage, so we both know how to use it really well. So I think that makes for a little bit more of an entertaining fight as well, just both of us being familiar with it.
We're changing the cage right before the fight, so everybody's going in prepared, and then they come in, it's a circle. What? It's a big circle. Sorry, curveball, guys.
Actually, you guys are fighting in that
Yeah,
boxing
it's a
ring.
ring, actually. What cage are you guys talking about?
And underneath that cage, you don't know about, there's an aquarium full of sharks.
Yeah,
so there's a trap door. So
Whoever loses.
yeah, you better win. You better win.
Hey, that adds to the show. Don't
Yeah.
put it past us. We'll put it in there.
Any predictions on this fight other than you wanting the victory? How do
blood.
you see it?
I predict there's going to be a lot of blood in this fight. So, you know, who's going to be bleeding, we'll find out October 20th. But both of us have the ability to do some damage, and I think this is going to be one of those fights. But you can see me with the belt wrapped around my waist after that fight.
Chris Pacero, he was calling in. Actually, he's been listening to your interview.
Cool.
So we're going to bring Chris Pacero in.
You know, coming in this cage, you know, you've really made a name for yourself here. What's going through your mind right now about coming back and really being able to have this title shot really happen?
I'm excited. You know, I had a similar situation that happened to me, that happened to Doug on that same exact night. We were both fighting for titles that night. You know, had a little controversy, things like that. His was a little more controversial, you know, and so we're both looking to come back and claim that title.
What does being a fighter really mean to Chris Pacero?
It's everything. You know, I've said it before. This is what I do. This is my life. You know, I have a family. I'm married with 2 little boys, and you know, so this is my livelihood.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for calling in. I guess you can go back to training, but we'll look forward to you on October 20th. Let's talk about Alex Russ, who's our next guest.
Alex Russ,
yeah.
You know, Alex,
you had a lot to say about Alex.
Alex kind of surprised me. You know, when he fought the last time he fought for XKO, he went on to a news station, and his ideology of himself is that he's a husband, he's a nerd, and he's an MMA fighter. And I thought to myself, you know, what? You know, he's a computer programmer and an MMA fighter. And he said, kids, nerds can be MMA fighters, and you can be confident in yourself. So I think that combination, I was ready to see this guy get in the cage and see him unleash his nerdism and his MMA skills. So he's a really cool guy, man. He's a really cool guy.
I think he's invented a new word.
I don't know. No, that's certified.
That's certified. Okay, that's certified.
What's been going through your mind? Why the 1 year? I don't think anybody's judging you for the 1 year. I think everybody knows that, you know, in this game, sometimes you got to take some time and reboot. So what's been the last year like for you in your life?
Well, I mean, in a nutshell, I'm a professional with the family. That's good. You know, although I'm a professional fighter, I just do this for fun. I just like to fight. So sometimes it's necessary to have some time off.
Right.
I gotta ask, did you throw the reboot pun in there since he's a computer programmer?
I was hoping he would get that.
I got it.
Yeah, you got that?
I'm all excited over here.
Yeah, hey, I'm a computer programmer from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm at the night job right now. I'm a fighter right now.
Right.
So do you think taking that year is going to affect you at all going into, you know, this fight? Because you are fighting Tristan Grinley, right? And Tristan is known for his ground game. Do you think being out for a year is going to affect you at all? I mean,
I hope he feels that way.
right.
You know, I hope he feels that it's going to affect me, and I
Right.
hope he sleeps on me.
Right.
You know, if you know me, I work very hard. I get up early in the morning, I go jogging, and my fight camps are usually from like 3 a.m. to about 10 p.m.
How important is this fight for you?
Well, you know, there's a quote that Maya Angelou has that says, "Don't pick it up, don't lay it down." Meaning, don't pick up any compliments people give you and let it stick to you and let it blow your head up. And don't pick up any insults people give you and let it hold you down. You know, I believe I haven't picked any of that stuff up. I haven't laid it down. I haven't thought about it. I haven't focused on that. As far as the comeback goes, you know, I'm not really concerned with a comeback. It's not really like that to me. You know, I don't think of all these superficial things. I just like to fight. I'm just here to fight. I don't care if it was like, you know, 2 days from the last fight, a year from the last fight. It's a fight, and that's what I love to do. You know, so I'm not really worried about the time frame. I'm not really worried about
What others think? Or...
any of that stuff. You know, any of that stuff. I mean, like, you know, I invest exhaustion in this thing every night. When I leave out of here, I'm exhausted. And if you do such things, you don't have really time to concern yourself with thoughts like that. I'm just trying to get ready. I just want to be prepared.
You have a strength coach, you have a nutrition coach. But should a psychologist be part of a fight team?
I think so.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I wouldn't have thought that a year ago.
Right.
But a few of my training partners, William Campazano and Johnny Bedford and Jason Sampson, they've all been seeing Brad for a couple of years, and I've seen how well he's done with them, and so, you know, you can do anything to get an edge. So I started seeing him, and now I'm looking at like that is one hell of a decision I made in the positive.
Well, you know, in the fight game, I mean, everybody's physically ready.
Right.
Everybody. I mean, you could teach a little kid right now how to throw a 1-2 or a kick, but there's so much mental. You know, it's a mental game. You can have all the physical talent, whatever, going for you, but if you don't have this going into that ring, you have already lost.
Because
You've already lost.
You're right, and I think that's the main, because I've seen you train before, and I've seen Doug train. And so I guess the same question, what is the benefit of having a psychologist? Is there one that should be needed as part of your fight team?
You know, honestly, because I know Doug personally, and I know he's a natural skeptic just like I am. The fact that he would say such a thing, it holds weight for me. You know, personally, the only other activity I do outside of working and training is going to church. Okay. You know, and before my fight, I stay in my word, man. And then, you know, I spend a lot of time with my church family, and that's pretty much what gets me right.
There's some times that really sometimes annoy me when fight fans starts booing when it gets to the ground, and that, but they don't realize that when you're on the ground, you're just not laying on each other. Right. What can you tell the fight fans? What are you guys doing when you're on the ground? You guys are apparently not hugging, just resting. You guys are working for something.
Well, first off, any of the fight fans out there that don't understand the ground game, if you're a mixed martial arts fan, educate yourself. Watch some YouTube videos. End of story. No, absolutely nobody should be booing in a fight. Even if the fighters are stalling, because these guys are laying it all on the line. You know, they're doing something that those people in the crowd, you know, 99% of them will never do. Right. And so, yeah, educate yourself, people.
Hey, we don't boo you while you flip your burgers.
There you go. There you go. That's coming from a guy who sits down at a computer desk for 8 hours a day, creating software. And by night, he's an MMA fighter, so don't give him any attitude. That's for sure.
I mean, I think we should just do like a public service announcement.
Right.
We should just go around booing people while they're working, just to show what it's like.
That's a
campaign.
What I mean? That's a campaign.
Yes, I'm with that.
Go into stores.
Boo! Exactly.
Right.
You're folding that shirt wrong.
Exactly.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Exactly. Hey, I'm with it. I'm with it.
I'm with that. We're gonna start that campaign.
Hey, before they come back, Thomas and I need to walk with a disclaimer. These guys are professional fighters. Oh,
Yeah.
well, you know what? They can boo us. It's okay.
But
I should be
honestly,
booed.
I can say the XKO crowd is pretty educated.
Yeah.
You know, like it's one of my favorite venues. I mean, they know, like, when I get takedowns, they clap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the last fight I had, when I got them down, it went nuts. You know, like they knew, even though nothing happened yet.
Right.
It was just a takedown.
Can you
It wasn't,
feel? Can you feel the pace of the crowd when you're fighting? I mean, are you that tuned into what's around you, or are you just so tunnel vision to fight?
Now, it's weird for me. Like, honestly, when I walk out, I don't really see the crowd. It kind of all phases out.
Right.
I see the ref. The ring girls usually tick me off because they're taking too long. I'm aware of the guy who's locking the pin, and he's usually taking too long.
You're an angry person inside that cage.
Yeah.
You angry right now, Alex?
Yeah.
Of course I'm angry.
You're angry right
I'm
now.
2 weeks out of a fight. You know, I'm angry.
Right.
Indeed, I'm angry. I ate steel-cut oatmeal for breakfast, and I'm pissed about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What is the greatest compliment from a kid to an adult to an elderly person ever told you about, you inspired me, or you're the reason why I'm fighting, or you're the reason why I came to watch, you fight, and I don't know anybody else, and I don't know you from Adam from Eve. Is there anyone out there that ever, did something?
There are a few guys, actually from my middle school and high school days that I haven't kept in great touch with, but recently they've contacted me and just told me how absolutely proud they are, and a lot of the fight fans don't know me, but I was an asshole, and there were a lot of people that didn't like me, and so for these people to be coming up and say, I am so proud of you, you're a completely different guy, it just shows me that what I've been working towards is working. I'm becoming a real person, rather than just somebody who is full of himself.
Any shout outs for you, any sponsors, your coaches, teammates?
Absolutely. First my wife, Jin Yu, Jin Fry, for always being there. My guys over at Torque Fight Gear, Lockout Supplements. My mental training coach, Brad Jerica, he's been the man. He's really helped put my mental focus together. I always prided myself on being a cerebral fighter, and having a sports psychologist like him who understands the pressures of athletes in general has really been a help. And then of course my guys over at Moeller's Fitness Fight Factory, Team Takedown. Thank all you guys bringing home the strap for y'all.
Any shout outs? Anybody want to?
Yes, of course. I like to shout out to my wife, Shantae. I love you. Thank you for all the support. My sponsors, Party Tapper. Get the app. It's in the App Store right now. And cashfights.com.
I got one more shout out. My people over at Hooligans, thank you so much for picking me up as a sponsor, and everybody after party at Hooligans in Arlington. Let's go.
There you go.
Gotta find some nerd place to get my after party at.
Apple Store.
Fries. Hey, some cool coffee shop holler at a nerd.
Let's go have coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah, that'd be perfect for me. Some internet cafe, holler at a nerd, okay?
That's what we need. A highly caffeinated MMA fighter.
That should be your fight name now.
What?
Holler at a nerd.
I do represent that. I am a nerd. I always say I'm the coolest nerd you'll ever meet.
Yep.
I like the reboot. Alex Reboot Russ.
Alex Reboot Russ.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go.
Hey, you know what? I like Warpath. Only when I want something, I just go get it. And that's what that means. Everything I want, I do everything I can to make sure I succeed at it. That's all that means.
Whether it's a title belt or a glass of milk out of the refrigerator, you go get it, don't you?
Tell you, like that milk, I want that milk. I'm telling you, like I will beeline straight to the fridge. I will stiff arm my 3-year-old son.
Right, step on
and I will get my almond milk.
Cats in trouble.
That's what I say. When I want something, I'll hit an old lady. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Like,
So once you learn, everybody's got deep down issues.
Yeah.
The over goes one way, the bicycle scooter gets knocked down.
I mean, let's admit it.
Yes.
We get punched in the face for a living. You
Right.
know, that's the last thing I say.
We
at
got to
work.
have some kind of issue.
Yeah, every day when I
Seriously.
leave work, I'm like, bye guys, I'm off to go get punched in the face.
Right.
You know, our very last guest is Donnie Bell, who's fighting the main event.
Yep.
And actually, he made his pro debut. Donnie, welcome.
Donnie, how you doing, brother?
Good, good.
How are you? Thank
What's up, buddy?
you.
Good to see you, man.
And he now it's so funny because he's he made his pro debut and now he's fighting for a title. So how exciting is that?
It couldn't happen fast enough for Donnie Bell. He's a natural.
Yeah.
He's made his way up.
Right.
You know, the ranks quick. You know, obviously he's got a sense of background, but
Right.
one of those fighters that you say Donnie Bell's main event, XKO, nobody questions it. They say, good, he deserves it.
See, so how does it feel, coming up and people are getting to know, when they hear Donnie Bell, they know what type of fighter you are, and they probably not have, never met you, but they know the name. How does that feel?
It feels pretty good. It helps me train and stuff, knowing that I got fans out there because I want to look good for the fans and put on a show for them. So.
Right.
Donnie's one of those fighters, as well as Brad Mitchell, that you could call them 6 months out from a fight or 2 days out from a fight, and they're ready. You know, that's a talent level. That's the caliber of fighter that Donnie and both Brad are, and that's what makes his main event so exciting. Is because there's rumors. People know. They say, okay, Donnie. Okay, they think of him as a powerhouse. They think of Brad Mitchell. Brad's been out for a while. He broke his hand on his last fight against Steven Peterson.
Right.
But they know Brad Mitchell because of his power. He had an amateur career, extensive amateur career, and unfortunately his pro career hasn't been as long due to injuries and stuff. But he's the type of fighter that this main event is by far one of the most exciting we've ever had at XKO, and it's for the 155 championship.
I had a great time, and what better way to do it at XKO with 2 championship fights. Antonio, thank you, my
Very welcome.
co-host.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much
Sports
for having me.
commentator for XKO.
I try to do what I can.
Yeah, and the owner himself,
thank you
Thomas
very much.
Leslie. Thank you so much. And Donnie, you're gonna have a face-off next week, so talk to your fans about watching it.
Yeah, face off coming next week. Make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a little bit of trash talking, so I'll tune in. You're watching UFFL Combat TV. You have just been hit.